Hey, good morning, welcome to the weekend, everybody. We'll get this thing started momentarily. What's going on, Scott? Good morning, my friend Grease Monkey. The monkey with the grease.
And now introducing. Let it know that 1, 2, 3 is on the microphone. I'm not running some junk, that was a bad science project. This is a wicked machine built with skill, sweat, and blood. Johnny down the street thinks he has the heat, but when I key down the microphone, that sucker is gone. So get your stuff together and do it right. Otherwise, you're not gonna get your name called tonight. So if you come across me across the band, you know I'm gonna wave a hand. I'll be screaming 1, 2, 3, South Jersey. Working my more watts, 24 pill in my psycho zip driver. So if you wanna drop to the hill,
So what's happening? Good morning, good morning, good morning.
They call me Danny 1, 2, 3, South Jersey.
Alright. Alright, so here's what we have going on here. This one here is for Black Cat Radio, for Ivan Ward. He does these raffles, and this one here is still open. This raffle's open. I think there's about 56 spots left for the raffle that Ivan Ward's having with Black Cat Radio. I think it's I don't know, some high-powered radio. It's a 660. It's a 6666. Whatever that is, any tone I think it is, built in a John Beck radio system. So I got quite a few different things happening here with this raffle, and we're doing a lot of things remotely. So what I'm going to do is try to simulate the performance of that radio, which does right around 100, 125, I think on the peak, maybe 130. And the RMS obviously are going to be quite a bit lower. So we're looking probably right around 40, maybe 45 at best with that radio. So we're going to take a look at what we have here and how this package goes together. This is a 120 volt plug-in-the-wall bass unit, all self-contained. Basically, it just has a main on-off switch for the power supply, and it's on right now. So nothing will happen. No lights, no fans will turn on when you hit that switch. And then when you hit the amplifier switch, that light will come on and the fan will come on. You don't have to hit a switch or anything for sideband, because it's automatic. It's automatic sideband delay in these units that I've been putting together. No, they're not bias units. These are Class C units with a sideband delay. What's going on, Chuck? How are you? So here's the back end of it. This switch is not used up. It's not used for anything. It's just there. It's part of this chassis assembly. And I chose to not use that. Instead of reaching in the back to turn the amplifier on, you do it up front. So that said, pretty straightforward here. You got your in and out for your radio coming in, or driver going into this, and then output off to your meter assembly and off to your antenna. So that said, now we're touching coax and looking at that. We're going to talk about phase angles coming down from these radios and into maybe an amplifier, or possibly into just a radio going straight into this unit. So they have this thing, it's called velocity factor, and it's called VOP. So when you have the VOP of a piece of coax, that determines the length of the coax cut to the frequency that you want to transmit on. I mean, these are kind of like a rubber band. They stretch a little bit, and then after that, it's just out of stretch, and the coax won't make it to the destination of the frequency that you're trying to transmit on. So you could take and have a really good piece of coax. Let's say, for example, a piece of LMR or Heliax. Now we know that the VOP on those coaxes are much, much higher than 0.66. In fact, the analyzers, the rig experts, if you get into the tools or the settings of that machine, and you go to the VOP, or properly by the VOP, velocity of propagation, it's set at a default of 0.66. So if you have one of those machines and you have any other type of coax, other than 213, 214, 217, or 218. That's that family .66. And those analyzers are set by default. So if you're trying to stub tune your coax, you need to go into those analyzers and readjust for the piece of coax that you're using. So that means you have to know about the coax that you're going to be getting ready to cut up. So if you have anything other than the family of .66, then you have to manually go into that machine and change it so you can stub tune. So these are things that you probably should know. If not, read the book or get on YouTube and watch some videos about those machines. They had eliminated all of the Rig Expert machines from the 35 all the way to the 1000, and they're no longer making them. They make a one-piece unit. It's called the Match by Rig Expert, and it's a one-stop shop. So you buy the unit for $3.99. They are a basic unit, so it'll read your SWRs and ohms and such like that. But if you don't get the advanced settings, you have to purchase those. So it's a licensing thing. And I think it's $90 for the licensing for the advanced software. They email it to you, and then you upload it when you hook it the machine up to your computer, and then you can upload the new software in the new Rig Expert Match. And then after that, you got everything you need in that machine. So unfortunately, that machine with the advanced programming you're going to be about $498 or something like that to your door, unless you catch a sale on this stuff. So keep that in mind. If you're looking for a used one, it's a ghost town. It's like trying to find a Toshiba. You're not going to find a Rig Expert used nor new on eBay, Amazon, anywhere. Everybody that has them seems to be keeping them. So I'm going to keep the ones I have. I have a 230 and a 55. And I'll eventually get the new Match and get the newest stuff. But that said, I'm doing really good with what I have. And so back to this. Ivan Ward, great job on your raffles that you do. And I did something different, and I'm going to continue to do something different for you. That radio was so cool. It's black and blue. John Beck did an incredible job on making these radios. He takes one and cannibalizes whichever radio, and then he outfits it in his own cabinet and does everything and makes everything work, and everything's labeled, and it's really a cool custom radio. In fact, he puts little stinger boards in them that I'm producing, a little 1-pill or 2-pill amplifier, normally 454s and 2290s and 1446s. But with that said, those projects are coming along just fine for John and me, and then Ivan is involved with the raffle, so he's helping taking and moving some of this stuff. So like I said, I decided to do something different, and as we progress forward with Ivan and the Black Hat Radio raffles, I'm going to take and do a little bit more customized stuff. This is a raffle. This is something special. This is going to set this raffle boxes apart from the South Jersey line, even though it's going to say 123 South Jersey. I'm going to put colors on the units, and I have a lot of vinyl, and I want to use it before it goes bad, so or gets damaged just sitting around. So with that said, this is actually a blue on silver. It looks really good. It kind of looks a little purple tint in the video. With that also said, I don't like small fans like 80 millimeters and 92 millimeter fans. I'm a big fan of a 120 millimeter fan. This is a nice chassis. It fits in here really well. I blow out the hole that was in here from the factory, and I upgrade the fan kit automatically. This is something that I think it's very, very important to when you own or run an amplifier, that you should have an extremely good cooling system on it. And yes, good cooling systems do make noise. So if you're concerned about ambient air noise that's in your room, or just ambient noise in your room, don't sit on top of your amplifier. You do not need to be sitting right on top of this. Why is that? Because we'll go back to the whole coax thing. From this radio to that little Texas Star driver, I'm running a half a wavelength of coax. That's approximately 12 foot long. Now coming out of this Texas Star and coming down into this little driver, or into this little 4-pill unit, is another half a wavelength or 12-foot piece of coax. And you see it's just gathered up here on my bench. I'm not having RF problems or anything like that. So if you do have RF problems in your shack, or you do have the wrong length jumper, or it could probably, you think it's the right length jumper, but it could be simply just cut wrong, that fan is going to tell you what's going on with your amplifier. So if your fans start slowing way down or speed way up when you key up on a dead key, and when you modulate they kind of quiver with your voice, then there's RF in your system, and it's coming back, and that fan's literally telling you that, and your fan normally will break before you start to break the amplifier, but that's not always true. So keep that in mind when you guys are taking in and trying to figure out your system. Your fans that you can hear that you complain about, that are doing a very important job, are actually talking to you and saying how well your system's running, because you can listen to your fans. And if you can learn to tune your ear to that, then you will take in and maybe solidify some of your problems if you start looking at your system a little bit closer. So I talk about coax and systems and SWR and all these things has to be right. And if it's not, you're just cheating yourself, because every builder out there, if they're good or bad, they give it their 100% to their knowledge, the best they can do for you guys. So if you're wanting to try the new guy, or somebody, oh, I haven't had his boxes yet, or whichever, if you're seeing them pop up for sale a lot on Facebook or on eBay, or just general, just being sold, then people are trying them and they're not working out, and they're selling their bad idea to somebody else. So not that great deal is always going to be a good deal when you buy someone else's used piece of equipment. So keep that in mind when you get involved into, I'm going to buy a next piece of equipment. Really look at the source. Where is that stuff coming from? How that amplifier was run if you bought a used one. But if you're going to buy a new one, hell, I've been here for over 30 years. You can contact me. I'm pretty easy to get with. But at the end, you get a brand new piece of equipment with some really good instructions how to run it for free. I ain't charging anybody for these videos. In fact, the whole wide world gets to see them for free, because I post all my stuff to public on my YouTube, 123 Built Chicago, and on my Facebook, Danny Frechette. So keep that in mind. I give up a lot of information to help you guys out, and it's for the better good of the hobby. If we keep these secrets in us and we don't share this stuff, then you're the end user. You guys out there, the general audience out here watching these videos, is the end user. You need to understand how to run this equipment and run it right. If you want to run it out of bounds, knock yourself out. It'll run for a while and it'll probably give up. So, standing waves, 1.0, 1.1, 1.2, I'm going to say you need to probably start working on your antenna system, because it's not going to get any better. It will progress to decline and get worse. It's not going to stay at 1.2 forever, and it's definitely ain't going to go down. It'll probably go up. So if you're one of those guys that don't do maintenance. So with that said, let's fire this thing up. We're going to take in, see if we got power there. Okay. Now we're going to take in, run this at a little bit low drive. I'm going to run it with my R&R Cobra 29 first, and then we'll go over to the 148 for the sideband side of this thing. I am going to run on a dummy load. I tested everything on the antenna and it works excellent. So let's take a look at where we're at with drive. I'm not so concerned about dead key right now, but we're just going to take a look at our drive levels. All right, so here we go. Let's take a look at this, and we're going to look at a 25 watt input reflection slug, 250 watt input drive slug, and then we'll be looking at a 2500 to 1000 on the analog, and then a 5000 and 2500 on the digital Dave. All right, so here we go. Let's take a look. Audio, I ain't doing a whole lot. Audio. So about 42, 40, about 40 watts or so. All right, so about 40 watts. Let's see where we're at. Get a little carrier going on here. All right, so here's our working drive wattage now. All right, we showed you bypass and what the power was making across. Let's see if we still hold our 40 or just a little bit above. Audio. So now we're hanging out right at that 40 mark, and each line is 5 watts there. Input reflection, audio 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2. So we're hanging out right about 2 watts on the input reflection. Now we'll take a look at the 1000 watt slug. Now we're not going to take and bury it or anything crazy like that. We're only hitting it with 40 watts of drive. So let's take good morning, Roger. Take a look at the 1000 watt slug. Audio. So we're hanging out right around 340, 350 right there. And then what happens with the peaker, tweaker, all right? So we're shunting right about 900. Let's look at the 5000 watt slug and see what it says. Audio, peaker, tweaker. Shows a little bit more. It's a little bit more generous. We'll just leave it on 2500 watt slug here. And we'll look at it one more time. Audio. So 950. So here we go, we're listening at the 2500 watt slug. Each side's 50 watts, RMS, top scale. And good morning, Mark. Audio, 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 audio. Right there at that 350 mark. I don't know what this peak is going to say on the analog. Audio, tweaker, 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 tweaker. 9950, somewhere right in there. Tweaker, tweaker, tweaker. Yeah, really, real good. Everything's tracking really nice. Now, that's just low drive, and that's what that radio will probably get this thing to run on AM and sideband. But with the same senses, I'd have to switch over, which I'm going to real quick, and I'll bounce back again. So, if I were to take and say, I just ran a really good radio into the system. The R&R Cobra 29 is a killer, man. They do really freaking good. But I have a 148 that still runs really good, but I'll show you it's not going to make the performance power on AM. And this is where radios, things will change on radios just because of how they're tuned up, the make and model of them. These are both single final radios. Single final radios are your friends, especially if they got a snake on them. All right, so let's take a look at what we got going on here. Drive again. Now we just at about 40 watts. I didn't change anything, just radios. Audio, 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 right there. Audio. I lost 10 watts somewhere, 5 watts. Audio, yeah, I lost about 10 watts. All right, so inputs, audio, 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 about the same there. Now what happened to my peak? Now I'm on AM now. Peaker, tweaker, same drive, audio, audio. That's about 100 watts of difference or so just on peak, just because of the radio. All right, so if you have not the radios or the radios that make good power, you're never going to see the performance where I'm at. You can't force the thing to do it. So this is why I'm showing you two different levels of two different radios with the same drive level for the most part. And I'll turn this drive level up to match the other one, but we'll just keep going from here. Audio, 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 audio. So I'm only hitting 300, so I lost about 80 watts or so. But let me take and see if I can pick this up, get me back up to my 40. Audio. Okay, there's 40 watts. We're right back at 40. Audio. Okay, I'm at 40. Input, 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 input. Still about the same. Now, my peak, I only increased 10 watts. And we were hanging out about 8 or something. Audio, peaker, tweaker, hey, audio, hey, audio, hey. 9 1/4 now. All right, so if I go back up here to 1000 watt slug, audio, hey, audio, audio, audio. So you're splitting hairs. Yeah, both radios run really good. The 29 obviously runs better than the 148 on AM. But at the same sense, if I left this 40 watts here and I went over to sideband, all right, let's see what that would be somewhat on peak. We'll try to get an idea. Audio, 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 audio. So it's saying 150, 125, so maybe about 130. That's really close to what it would be on that radio. All right, so now all that RMS stuff is obsolete now. Now we only can have to look at peak because now we're on sideband. So now the only thing we can do is look at peak. So let's just look at the peaker, tweaker, 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 audio, tweaker, tweak, audio, audio, audio. All right, so I'm hitting 1000 watts there. Let's see what it says up here on the analog. Audio, tweaker, tweaker, audio, tweaker, tweaker, tweaker. A little over 1000. We're doing good. And this is 1000 watts in RMS, which turns into average peak. Audio, 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 audio. So it's showing me like 820. So if you're a guy that don't have a peak meter, out of all the peaker tweakers we have in our world, and you are on sideband, if you only have a coaxial dynamics or a bird meter without a peak kit in it, then if you're driving, you're trying to figure out your drive to drive a box in sideband, then you're guessing, because I just showed 800 on the analog and over 1000 on the actual true peak. All right, so what does that tell you right there? That tells you if you set your RMS meter up on a sideband rig, and I say, hey, don't drive more than 40 watts, and you hit 40, but you're on an RMS meter, then you're going to be doing a lot more than 40 watts. Audio peak I'm talking about. Audio. So that's 880, 840, 840 right there. 840 audio. 840 to 1,000. So that's 100 something. Let's see. 840 minus 1,000. 160 watts difference. That's 160 watts. That's enough to break a box. So all the peaker tweakers in the world, this one's for you. Get it together for sideband. So if you want to use a peak meter and you want to use it right, use it on sideband. AM is a nice reference. It shows you that the glass is full almost at any point that the amplifier is being driven. Now, we're getting ready to change radios again because I just did the sideband test. There's not a whole lot more I can do with this. All right, so again, this is my sideband. This is my peak number on sideband. Audio. So I'm showing right about 150 watts of drive peak on sideband, and that gives me this. Audio. So about 1,000 watts on peak on sideband. So let's go back over to AM performance on this thing. I'm going to change radios again. Go back to the Cobra 29. And then we'll take and show you how this thing can get up and go as far as the performance goes on AM. If that's the type, if you change radio systems and you want to run this for something else. They're all pretty much the same. This video will cover many other systems, but this was kind of pretty much for that one radio. But I'm going to show you where this thing can actually go now. So we won't change the driver. We'll leave it right where we're at. We're going to look at our radio here, and let's just take a look. We're on AM. We got the 29 in line. All right, let's look at my drive now. 1,000 watt slug. No, 250 watt slug. Audio. So I'm at 45 watts of drive. I'm going to increase that. Audio input. About 2.5. Peaker, tweaker. Audio. Hit my 1,000. And let's see what the RMS is on this one. Audio. 400. All right, now let's look at this. Audio. 400. And peaker, tweaker. Audio. All right, so everything's tracking beautifully. At 40 watts of drive. That same 45 watts of drive, I'm sorry, is peaker tweaker time. Audio 150 it's showing. Let's look it down here. Peaker tweaker time, definitely not that one. All right, peaker tweaker time, tweaky. All right, so 150, 160, somewhere in there, 175. Now, that's on the peak. Now, what happens if I turn up my drive? Let's go on up to, let's see, 80 watts. Audio. Let's see, get a carrier off that thing. Audio. About 82. Audio. There's 75 watts. So what are we getting ready to do to this 75 watts of drive? We got 75 divided by 4 times. That's 18.75 watts per pill. This is almost full because at about 21, they're full. Full. Like no room to breathe full. So about 75, 80 watts would be your max on drive. On AM. And let's set a carrier and go through it. All right. I like to set about a 200 watt carrier. 200 watts, 210, somewhere right in there. No lower. Don't need to be too much higher. Input drive level. Let's see what we got working wattage here. Audio. There's our 75. Input reflection. Audio. Still hanging out around that 2.5. Now, did I gain anything? I hit 1,000 on the peak with 45 watts of drive. Now we're at 75 watts of drive. Is my peak going to increase? Big question here. Let's check it out, peaker tweaker. All right, here we go. 1, 2. So I had a little bit of room to grow. It can't grow anymore with any more drive because of the voltage it's at. It's set at like 15 volts. 15 volts, and it's hanging out 15.2, and it hangs out right about 15 volts. So you drop about 1 or 2 tenths of a volt with this unit, depending on how hard you drive it. Now let's look at the RMS now. I increased my drive. I'm about 70, 75 watts. Audio. So I'm hitting 480, almost 500 on the analog there. Let's see what we're doing on digital. Audio, audio, audio. So you see what I did, that little bit of extra power I increased on my drive from 45 to 75, almost doubled up. I didn't gain a lot of power as far as that matter goes in RMS. I did fill it up. I picked up another 75 or 80 watts, but I doubled my power to get that. So that tells you, what's going on, Ann? That tells you that the amplifier is full and the peak is right there and it's full. It's not going to give you any more peak until what? The only way you're going to do is increase the voltage, and you don't want to do that on this, because when you increase the voltage, you start decreasing the amperage and you're on 120 volts. So that leads to the problem of you have no headroom. So these units are where they're at. Yeah, it's a 100 amp power supply and they're 120 volts, and it's seeing a good portion of that. And it's running very comfortably, and it runs very smooth. What's going on, Chuck? How are you? Aloha. All the way from Hawaii. The Big Island, the west side, the best side. So, alright. There you have it. One little sideband kit for the Black Cat raffle for Ivan Ward. And it's a 66.6 amplified radio. Think a dual final, maybe has a small amplifier in it. I don't know much about that radio, but this is the system I put together. 120 volts. You can unplug it from the back of the unit there. It's nice and neat, compact. Got a nice, super nice cord. This is a heavy duty computer cord that I got from Walmart next door, ICA Manufacturing. And you get these online, you actually get this whole assembly. Now, talking about the assembly real quick, and I actually have this here. I'm going to show you guys how you can change the fuse if you need to. I think I got like a 20 amp fuse in here, 15 or 20. And I put an extra one in there. You should never need them, I hope not. But this is the actual fuse right here, and it clips on each side of this holding carriage. And then in the middle, I jabbed in an extra fuse. That's a place for an extra one. So there is actually an extra fuse in these units that I build. And we just got done running this thing, and this has got no heat on it, so it feels good. So that tells me that this fixture is perfect for what we're using it for. So no heat's a good thing, especially on your electrical services. It means nothing's getting strained. But there you have it. There's about 50 to 55 slots left on Ivan Ward's raffle on this one. So if you ain't got them, go and get them. It's a really cool system. Custom radio, custom amplifier, and definitely going to continue to do unique stuff for these raffles, just where I can take and designate what was raffled and what was sold as a regular unit from day to day. So the raffle units are great. Some people get them, win them, and flip this stuff, or do their own raffle, or they sell it, give it to their buddy or their dad or cousin or something. But at the end of the day, these guys are providing a really nice service. And with that said, I highly advise whoever does these raffles, please share these videos. And remember, these videos that I'm doing are only on my Facebook for 30 days, and then they pull them down. But they are online on my YouTube at 123 Built Chicago, and I don't pull them down. But you have to go to the live videos to view what I'm doing here in South Jersey. So there you go. That's what I have, and this is what I got. I don't know where Molly's at. Where'd she go? Let's see if I can find my Molly girl. What you got going on, Molly? Are you going to come over here? Huh? Are you coming over here, Molly? You gonna check it out? Come on. There's Molly. How are you, honey? You being good? Yeah, you gonna sit? Hi. You gonna wave? You gonna wave, Molly? Yeah, you're a good girl. There you go. There's, how about that peanut right there? You like that, huh? You a good girl? So what's going on? It's pretty warm out up here in South Jersey, isn't it? Yeah. You gonna sit pretty? Sit pretty. Sit pretty. Come on, sit up. Sit up. Going all the way up. There you go. Good girl, Molly. So what you gonna do today? You gonna take some more naps? We had a nice breakfast, didn't we? Yes? Yeah. You gonna catch this one? Catch that? Mm-hmm. So you gonna talk to me? You say hi to everybody. Molly, you say hi. You say hello. Molly, you say hello. Say hi. Hello. Ruff. Molly, You gonna say hi? You're not gonna talk today? Say, what's up? How are you? Talk to me. What's up? Hey, Jeffro. What's going on? You're not gonna talk? Here. What do you say? You want it? Tell me. You missed. Try again. Ready? There, you got that one. All right. Give everybody a wave when we're getting out of here. You gonna wave? Huh? Say bye-bye? All right. Good girl. Say bye. Say bye-bye. You're not gonna talk? You're just waving like a fool? You're waving like a Chinaman on vacation, aren't you? Say hello. Okay, you're a good girl. You gonna say goodbye now? Bye-bye. Say bye-bye. All right. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. You gonna say bye-bye soon? Good girl. You said bye-bye. All right. There you go. Oh, you missed it. Go get the kitty. Go get him. All right. All right, guys. Well, thanks for watching. Really appreciate you guys taking your time. Still early morning in a lot of places, especially in Hawaii. Chuck's already at the airport. It's still probably dark. But there you go. Little South Jersey unit. I think I covered everything on this thing. You guys got any questions, just send me a text or a PM. Pretty easy to get a hold of. Y'all take care. God bless. I'm rolling to the left. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Take care.